we've just got one starter today because we've got quite a lot to get through. So we've just got one question. The perimeter of this rectangle is 40 centimetres. What is the length of the blue line? So we can see the blue line at the right hand side there, and we know that the distance all the way around this rectangle is 40 centimetres. We know that this line is also 12 centimetres. So we need to know what these two lines are. Okay, so what we would have is 12 add 12 plus 2 of what we're trying to find is equal to 40, isn't it? So the 12s make 24, add 2 of what we're trying to find. That's going to be 40. It's 40. Then let's have a think about this. So 24 add 2 times something equals 40. Well, 24 add what is 40? That must be 16. So 2 times this. So this, add this together, makes 16. So that must mean that each of those are 8 centimetres. And we can just check that by adding it up. We'd have 12, 8, 12 and 8. So that gives us 20, that gives us 20. So that's 40 altogether. So the correct answer is 8 centimetres. Okay, right, so let's have a look where we're up to. So yesterday we did perimeters of squares and rectangles, and today we're going to look at perimeters of L, C and X shapes, and then tomorrow we're going to go on to doing some problem solving type puzzles with perimeter. Okay, so when I say perimeter of L shapes, this is what I mean. It's basically a rectangle with another rectangle cut out of it. Okay, that makes you have this L shape there. Okay, it doesn't matter which way up the L shape is, or whether you've got like chubby bits or skinny bits, but this, because this is basically a rectangle with another rectangle cut out of it, then that is also going to be called an L shape for this exercise. Okay, so I think the first thing we need to do is have a look at our first question here and see what we know. So we know the sides that have got numbers beside them, but we don't know the lengths of these sides. Okay, now we could find those. So let's do that. Let's find them first and then we'll decide whether we needed to. Okay, so let's look at this line first of all. Okay, now I want you to think, what could that line be? What could the length of that be? Now remember, this whole line down here all the way to the bottom is 6 centimetres. So that must mean that that line there would also be 6 centimetres. But don't forget that this line is 4 centimetres. So if that line is 4 centimetres, do a different colour, then this line is also 4 centimetres, which would mean that this one has to be 2 centimetres because it's got to make up to 6 altogether. Okay. I'll rub some of that out. Oops, I'll put the 2 back on. In the same sort of way, if we're looking for this length, then we need to think that all the way along there is 7 centimetres. So that must mean that all the way along there is 7 centimetres. Okay, but we know that that is 3 centimetres. So that must mean that this is 3 centimetres out of our 7. So that would leave us 4 centimetres for that line. Okay, seems like quite a lot of work so far, doesn't it? Just to find the 2 centimetres and the 4 centimetres. But now that we have found that, we can add all that up. So let's pick a starting point and say perimeter equals, we're going to go that way. So we'd have 6 centimetres, then 3 centimetres. Well, actually, let me just get rid of oops. So 6 centimetres. I'm trying not to write the centimetres. We don't need to as part of the work. So we've got 6, 3, 2, 4, 4, and 7. So if we add that all up, so 6 add 3 is 9, add 2 is 11, add 4 is 15, add 4 is 19, add 7 is 26. So the perimeter of that shape is 26 centimetres. That seemed like quite a lot of work to me. Let's think if there's a better way of doing it or an easier way. Okay. So going back to what we were just thinking about with the 7 centimetres, we looked at the fact that this line and this line make 7 altogether, don't they? Because we could move this line, down to here. Okay, so that makes our 7 centimetres altogether. So what we've got is 2 lots of 7 centimetres there. Okay. So written 2 times 7, or we could write 7 add 7, doesn't matter. Okay, and then looking at the vertical lines, we can see this line is 6 centimetres. We don't know what that line length is, but we know that that's 4 centimetres. However, if we move that line across there, we can see that this line and this line make 6 centimetres as well. So let's move that back. So what we've got is 6 centimetres there, and then when we put these two together, we've also got 6 centimetres. Okay, so we've got 2 7s and we've got 2 6s. Okay, 2 7s are 14, 2 6s are 12, which gives us 26 centimetres. Okay, so I think it's easier to do this without finding the lengths of the missing lines. Let's try that again with the next one. Okay, so to start with, if we look at the length all the way across the top, that's 26. Okay, we can see in this shape we've got a couple of missing lengths here and here, but we don't need to find those, all right, because we can remember what we were just looking at, that this line and this line must also make 26 centimetres, because if we move that line down there, then we can see that those 2 long pink lines are exactly the same length as each other. So that gives us 2 lots of 26. So this time I'll just write it down as adding. 26 add 26. Okay, and then looking at the vertical lines, we can see that that one is 12 and that one is 2. Okay, so what about this one here? Well, that line on the right hand side there, I think we can see, is going to be the same as our 12 line plus our 2 line here. So what we've got there is we've got 12 add 2 and another 12 add 2. Okay, so effectively what we're saying there is that's 12 and that's 2, so that must be 14. Okay, so all together here, let's do some adding up then. Oops. So we've got 26 and 26, that makes 52. And then we've got 12 and 2 is 14. Another 12 and 2 makes 14. So we've got 52 and 14 makes 66. Add another 14 makes 80. Oops, and it's not centimetres, is it? Because we're working in millimetres for that question. Okay, so we managed to do that fairly straightforwardly without finding the lengths that were missing. Okay, so we're going to do the same again with this one. So first of all, let's look at all the horizontal lines, the ones going across. So what we can see, as in the last couple of examples, is that if we move... Oh, didn't mean to tilt it. Meant to... Oh dear. Hold on. There we go. If we move that line up there, now that I've gone and tilted it a bit, silly me, we can see that that line, together with the one beside it, make 10 centimetres, okay? So it doesn't matter what the individual lengths of these two lines are, we know that they add up to 10, okay? So we can say that perimeter is we're going to have 10 and 10, one for that line and one for these two combined. And then if we look at the vertical lines, we can see that one's 8. And then we've got the other two vertical lines here. And if I just move that line, oops. If we move that line along there, then we can see that the green lines here add up to a total of 8, the same as that one there. So what we've got basically 2 10s for the pink lines and 2 8s for the green lines. So we've got 20 and 16 makes 36, and that would be centimetres. Okay, so that's what I want you to be in the habit of doing, is trying to work out perimeters without necessarily finding missing shapes, missing lengths. Okay, this one, we're going to do this one quite quickly, so I'm not going to bother moving the lines around this time. So to start with, we've got a line along there which is the same length as these two lines put together. Okay, those two lines put together make 19 metres. Okay, so we've got, for a perimeter, we've got 2 lots of 19. Okay, then we can see that this line and this line add up together to make this line. That was a bit of a wonky line that I drew there, sorry. This one here. So what we've also got is, I think there's 9 and 7 there, so that makes 16. So we've got 2 16s. Okay, so 2 19s are 38, 2 16s are 32, and when you add them both together, you get 70. So that would give us a perimeter of 70 metres. Okay, so I hope you're getting the hang of this, because we're going to move on to the perimeters of C and X shapes. Okay, so I've vaguely called these C and X shapes, but basically they're any shapes that are made up from right angles. Okay, what I'm actually going to do is go to the X one first. Okay, so we've only got a few measurements. We've got, if you look here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 missing lengths there. Okay, so what we're going to do is have a look at the horizontal lines. Okay, so there's a set of horizontal lines, and I hope you can see that if I were to put, I've done it again, I've tilted it, oops. If I were to put that line there and that line, done it again, that line there, we can see that that's the whole distance all the way across the shape. Okay. Also, 1, 2, 3 horizontal lines, we can see that if we were to move those, again, look, we're getting these 3 lines are going all the way across the shape. So those 3 lines must be equal to each other. Okay, so remember, this bit is 4 centimetres, that bit is 4 centimetres, and this bit is meters, all meters. So 4 meters, 4 meters, and 2 meters. So the length of that blue line there is 4 add 4 add 2, so that's 10 meters, which also means that the length of that blue line there must be 10 meters. Okay, I'm going to do some rubbing out just now. Okay, so what we've said is that we've taken account of that line, and that line, and that one, and that one, and they were the 10 meters, 2 lots of 10 meters. Okay, we can do the same looking at the vertical lines now. So if we look there, there, and there, those 3 lines go all the way from the top to the bottom of the shape, don't they? So they make a total of that length. Okay, and also this one, and this one are the same length. Okay, so we've got 4, 3, and 3. And 4 add 3 makes 10. So both of these vertical lines are also a total of 10 meters. So all of those green ones add up to 10 at each side, so 20 altogether, okay? And all of the blue ones also add up to 20 altogether because they make 10 across. So the perimeter of this whole shape is basically 4 lots of 10. So it would be 40 meters. Okay, let's come back to this one. This one's not exactly the same. So for this one, we might need to find some missing lines. We'll see. So what we've got, we can see that we've got this line here is missing down the left-hand side. All right. So can we see what that would be, what the length of that line would be? Well, if we look at our other vertical lines, the ones going straight down, we've got 8 there. And we've got 12 there. Oops, that's not where I meant to put that. And we've got 3 there. And if I were to move these around again like I've been doing, then we can see that these 3 lines here are going to make the same as that line there. Okay, so what we've got is that one's 8 because it moved from there. That one's 12, because we didn't move it, and that one's 3, moved from there. So 8 add 12 add 3, 8 add 12 is 20, so that's 23 centimetres. So just showing you what lines we've got. We've got that line, that line, that line, and that line. So the lines we've still to find the length of, well, we've got that one there, that one's 16. But we need to make sure we've got the whole perimeter, so we need all the long lines and all the uppy-downy lines, all the horizontal ones and all the vertical ones. So the unticked lines are the ones that I've just drawn in blue there. So we can see that we've got 16 at the top here. We've got 6 and 6 there. That makes 12. And we've got another 16 at the bottom there. So 16 add 12 is 28. Add 16 is 44. So altogether, we've got 67 centimetres for the perimeter of this shape. Okay, so I think we've got another one. No, we don't. There you go. Right, I thought I had another one for us to do, but we don't. So tomorrow what we're going to do is look at a little bit of perimeter puzzles, but I do want you to practice doing these. So try and do it without finding missing lengths. Try and do it by looking at totals and putting lines together that make other lines. Okay, so well done, and I'll see you later.